Today we're going to talk about understanding slope. And slope is what describes the steepness of lines in the coordinate plane. You can find the slope of a line by subtracting the coordinates of any 2 points on the line. Okay, I think the easiest way to describe slope is rise over run. Okay, rise over run. A more exact way of saying rise is the change in y and change in x, right? So rise is how much your y is changing, run is how much your x is changing. And so we're actually going to learn a formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I will explain all of that as we move along here. But before we do that, I have to tell you the story of Slope Dude. Okay, Slope Dude is a skier who can only move left to right. Okay, he can, just like the way you read, he can only ski left to right. And when he's going up the mountain, it's hard work, right? He's skiing and he says, puff, puff, positive, puff, puff, positive. Okay, because it's hard work going up that mountain. He gets to the top of the mountain and he starts coming down. And that's where he says, nice, negative, because it's easy. Okay, he gets to the bottom of the hill and it's totally flat and he's bored and he says, this is zero fun. This is zero fun. And then he's so bored that he's not paying attention and he skis straight off a cliff. And as he skis straight off that cliff, he screams, undefined, as he falls off the cliff. Okay, so puff, puff, positive, nice, negative. This is zero fun, undefined. And you might be thinking, well, Miss McAnally, you drew arrows going this way. So how do I know if he's going up or down? Because when we read a graph for the slope, we are going to read it just like we read a book, left to right, or words or an equation or anything. So left to right, he's going puff, puff, positive. Left to right, he's going nice, negative. Okay, zero is flat and undefined is vertical. So it says find the slope of the following lines. So change in y over change in x. So we're going to be Slope Dude, right? We always are starting on the left and we're going to the right. So he's starting over here on my red dot and he's going to the blue because we're going left to right. Okay, and I want to know how much is y changing, right? So think about it where he has to move down the little squares. So he's going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, down 4. And he's going over 1, 2, 3. So that's my slope. He went down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, 3. Down 4, over 3. So that would be your slope. If we were to look at this graph right here, left to right, he's going puff, puff, positive. He has to go up 2, right? 1, 2, and then he has to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that slope would be 2 over 5. Okay, on this bottom row, if he's going left to right, is he making any vertical change? None. This has a slope of 0. Okay, and we have to write 0. We can't write no slope or anything like that because it does have a slope. The slope just is 0. And that's because he's rising 0 and he's running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many times can 8 go into 0? 0 times. Okay, so now let's look at this guy. We're starting way over here. And we're having to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and it's positive because he's going puff, puff, positive. Well, what are 6 and 9 both divisible by? How can I simplify that fraction? They're both divisible by 3, so that's 2 over 3. And watch this. So Slope Dude could have gone up 2 over 1, 2, 3, and he took a rest right there. And then he went up 2 and over 1, 2, 3, and took a rest right there, right? 2 over 3 is the same as 6 over 9. And then this one over here, we're starting on the red, going to the blue. He went down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 0. How many times can 0 go into 4? It can't. You cannot define that. If you were to do it on a calculator, which you've probably done at some point, 4 divided by 0, it says divide by 0, error, right? You can never, ever, ever divide by 0. You cannot define it. It's undefined. So on the back of this page, we're going to talk about, well, what if you're given a table of values? Okay, so it says the data in the table below are linear. Use the data to find the slope, then graph the data and the line. Okay, so let's talk about what slope means, right? We've talked about it before. It's change in y over change in x, right? It's rise over run. So every time here, what's happening to my y values? That's going down 2, down 2, down 2. Can we agree with that? And how much is my x changing? Up 3, up 3, up 3. So my slope would be negative 2 over 3. If I graph these points, I have the point negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I have the point 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have the point 3, 1, 2, 3, and the point 2, 3, 4, 6, 1. Right? This is my line. If Slope Dude is moving left to right from any of these points on the left to any of them on the right, he's going down 1, 2, over 1, 2, 3. Down 1, 2, over 1, 2, 3. So look at this next one. Okay, slope, again, is change in y over change in x. So this is going from 2 to 0, that's down 2. That's down 2. That's down 2. So the change in y is negative 2. My x is going up 1, up 1, up 1. Negative 2 over 1, and I can write that as negative 2. So let's plot our points. I have the point negative 1, 2, 0, 0, 1, negative 2, and 2, negative 4. Here's my line. Slope Dude going left to right is going down 2 over 1. So why don't you pause it and come do this last one, and then unpause and see if you got it right. Okay, so change in y. It's going up 1, up 1, up 1. Change in x, up 2, up 2, up 2. So our slope is 1 over 2. If I graph these points, negative 2, negative 3, 0, negative 2, 2, negative 1, 4, 0. Slope Dude from here to here would be going rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Okay, and then the last thing that we have to talk about with slope is that, again, I feel like I've said it 1,000 times, but slope is the change in y over the change in x. So if you're given 2 points and they're not on a graph, you can do that by figuring out, well, what's the differences in the y's, right? How much is y changing over how much is x changing? Okay, and these are not exponents. These are called subscript, which is just telling you like the second y and the first y. Okay, so for example, on these 2 points, can we agree that this is like ordered pair number 1, this is ordered pair number 2. So if this is 1 and this is 2, this would be x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. It's just saying the second y and the first y. So we're going to use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the second y is 4 minus the first y is negative 2 over the second x is 3 minus the first x is 5. 4 minus negative 2 is positive 6. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And when we simplify that, we just get negative 3. So without ever having to graph those points, I'm able to figure out the slope. Okay, look at letter B. So again, this one would be x1 and y1, x2 and y2. So the second y minus the first y over the second x minus the first x. So negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Negative 3 minus negative 3 is 0. What do I know about having 0 in the denominator? That is not allowed, right? If I try to type that in, it's going to give me undefined. So let's look. If I were to just do like a rough sketch, right? This point would be negative 3, positive 4. This one would be negative 3, negative 3. What kind of line did that make? Vertical, which is undefined. So on letter C, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus negative 2 is 9. How many times can 9 go into 0? 0 times. Okay, so let's look at this one. If I were to graph the point negative 2, positive 5, let's just say it's there, and then positive 7, positive 5, that made a horizontal line. This is 0 fun. Okay, not math. Math is super fun. Okay, why don't you pause it and set up and work out D and E and see if you get them right. Or come back and check and we'll see if you got them right. Okay, on D, we should have had negative 10 minus 2 over negative 6 minus negative 3. Negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. Negative 6 minus negative 3 is negative 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Positive 4 because it's 2 negatives. And then this last one, 0 minus 5 over 0 minus 8. Negative 5 over negative 8. The only thing I can do to simplify that is make it positive because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. If you are struggling with the integers, okay, then go back and either watch the lesson on adding and subtracting integers or Google, adding integer practice or subtracting integers, okay, because this is the kind of stuff we're going to be doing kind of like clipping along pretty quickly. But remember, when you're subtracting, you're doing keep, change, and then different signs, subtract, okay? That's it.